Hey everyone, and welcome to Plant-Based Cooking with John, your go-to channel for delicious plant-based recipes that won't break the bank. Whether you're a seasoned cook or just starting out, you'll find easy to follow recipes that use simple ingredients and basic kitchen equipment. On today's episode, we're going to be making homemade broccoli mac and cheese. That's right, we're going to use potatoes and carrots actually to make the sauce, and you'll be amazed on not only how easy this is, but how healthy it is and how close it tastes to the real thing. Let's do it. To start things off, let's just quickly go over the ingredients that we're going to be using. So first and foremost, you'll need a pasta, and the pasta of choice that I chose is chickpea pasta. This is by Banza, and what I like about this for the mac and cheese is that they're shells, so it kind of captures all the sauce within each of those noodles. I would recommend this. Now, we're also going to be using, as I mentioned, carrots and potatoes for the mac and cheese, or the cheese part at least. And so for that, you'll just need 2 potatoes. Any one will do. If you have the Yukon Gold, those are probably the best. But in this case, I just have a couple red tomatoes. The peeling is going to be off. Okay, so it matters, but it kind of doesn't matter. It's still going to give you that taste we need. You're also going to need 3 carrots. Okay, that's going to really bring out the color. You're just going to need a couple cloves of garlic. Okay. Now, it's going to be broccoli as well, so you will need broccoli, just like a little head like this is perfect. Now, for the sauce, we're going to be using some things. That's part of the sauce, of course, but we're also going to be needing 1 lemon, okay? Salt and pepper, of course, which is almost in everything. Some seasonings we're going to be using is turmeric, okay? And we're also going to be using paprika. And then you're going to just need a little bit of apple cider vinegar, some Dijon mustard, and last but not least, the nutritional yeast, which will give us that cheesy flavor as well. For this recipe, the first thing you're going to want to do is peel the carrots and the potatoes. Once you have both your potatoes and carrots peeled, you're just going to want to give them a quick rinse. And now what we're going to do is chop them into chunks. And since the carrots are pretty fibrous, I'm going to cut them down into pieces just like this. And same with the potatoes. So that your carrots and potatoes look like this. You're then going to want to transfer the potatoes and the carrots into a pot of water so that they boil. So I'm just going to add my potatoes and carrots right into the water with a generous pinch of salt. And what I'm going to do here is just make sure that this comes to a boil, and then when it reaches a boil, this will boil down for about 30 minutes or until everything is tender enough that you can stab it with a fork and it goes all the way through. Remember, this is going to be part of our sauce, so the softer you get these ingredients, the better it's going to turn out. While your potatoes and carrots are boiling, this is a great time to get some prep work done. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 garlic cloves and we're going to mash them, and you want to make sure that these are peeled and minced. Now that the garlic is minced, we're just going to grab a small bowl and we're going to put that garlic right into the bowl. We're going to get our apple cider vinegar, and this just needs a teaspoon. So I have a 1/2 teaspoon measurement here. I'll just do 2 of these. once you have your apple cider vinegar in, you do need 2 tablespoons of your lemon juice. So I'm just going to cut the lemon right down to half. You can squeeze with your hand. If you have a juicer, you can use that. And you just want to get 2 tablespoons of that. Once you have your 2 tablespoons of your lemon juice, you'll also need 1 teaspoon of your Dijon mustard. You'll need a half teaspoon of paprika. You'll need a half teaspoon of turmeric. You'll also need a half teaspoon of salt. And 1/2 teaspoon of your ground pepper. Now, what you'll do here is just mix this up. If you have a fork, that's great. Or if you have a wire whisk, you'll just want to stir this all in. So this is what your sauce should look like. This is also a good time to prepare your broccoli, so just give it a good rinse. And then you're just going to want to cut. Now, I personally like the stems of the broccoli. I think they're delicious. So some people like to cut it right here to the very end of the floret. I like to get a lot of the stem in there. The only thing I would suggest, if you want to do large stems like me, just make sure that the stem part is actually cut pretty fine. Cut them in half, cut them in thirds. You just want to make sure that that cooks all the way through so it's not fibrous. And you'll want the broccoli cut so it looks like this. All right, it's been 30 minutes and I know my vegetables are done because I can pierce right through the carrot easily and I can pierce right through my potatoes easily. So now, before I drain the water, I'm just going to get a healthy cup of this broth without the vegetables in it. Just get as much of that as you can, okay? And you'll just want to set this to a side, and then you'll want to just drain this water out. All right, I'm now adding my pasta per the instructions on the box. But quick note, have the broccoli nearby, because what you're going to do, depending on the pasta that you're cooking, just make sure on the last 3 minutes of cook time, you put the broccoli into the pasta water, and you'll let that cook with the pasta for those remaining 3 minutes. All right, my pasta has about 3 more minutes to cook, but before I let it finish cooking all the way, I'm just going to add my broccoli right into my pasta water, and that way this takes down the prep time and the cook time because you're getting it all combined into one area. Get this nice and stirred up here, and then of course just keep following the instructions on the pasta. In this case, I have about 3 more minutes to go. Now, in the meantime, what you can do is take your blender vessel, like I'm using this, and you're just going to take your potatoes and carrots, and you're going to put that into this container. And then that way you can have the strainer to use when you drain the pasta. All right, I have my pasta and my broccoli strained. I'm just keeping that in the sink for now, and now it's time to make the sauce. So as you know, I have my potatoes and my carrots in my blender vessel. I'm now going to take some nutritional yeast, and you're going to use about a half cup of nutritional yeast, and you're just going to put that right into your potato and carrot mixture. So I'm just going to pour that right there on top. I'm also going to use the mixture we made earlier, the garlic, and the vinegar mixture, and I'm going to pour that in as well. That was the one with all the seasoning. And then last but not least, that reserved water that I had, I'm going to pour about a half cup in here. Now, of course, you want to have a little extra water, and that's going to be determined by you as to how thick you want the sauce. That way you can add a little bit more if you need to. But now we're just gonna take all these great ingredients, we're gonna put it on our blender, and we're gonna blend. All right, my sauce is done blending. You can see how bright and cheesy it looks. And I'm just gonna take it off really quick, and I'm just gonna see if it's the consistency I want it to be. So that looks like a cheese sauce to me. Not too thin, not too thick. It'll go really nicely with the noodles, and I'll just give it a quick taste. It's perfect. The salt level is enough. Of course, add salt if you want, add pepper, add whatever you want, more nutritional yeast, whatever is going to make it for you as far as the flavor goes. All right, now I'm going to use the same pot as we were before, and I'm going to pour my noodles and my broccoli back into the pot. And then I'm going to take my cheese sauce and pour it right on. I have not turned on the heat yet. And look how luxurious that looks, okay? And, you know, you can pour the whole thing in or just mix it around to see what level of cheese you want. I don't think, honestly, you could ever have too much cheese. And then you just want to mix all this in. And then you'll want to just put this on a low to medium heat so the cheese sauce doesn't burn. And you'll just mix this in and you'll serve it when it's hot. Now, to get my mac and cheese to where I really want it to be, these next few ingredients are up to you if you want to add, and I just think it kind of adds to it. So I just have some regular vegan shredded cheese here. This is just optional, but what this will do if I stir this in is it's going to make the cheese stretch a little bit, so it'll resemble like cheesiness. I also have a little bit of cream cheese I'm going to put in, and that's just going to help thicken the sauce. And I just used a little bit of that. I like my mac and cheese peppery, so I'm going to use a little bit more pepper here inside the actual main dish. And last but not least, I have some tofu bacon crumbles. To get my tofu bacon recipe, check out the end of the video and there'll be a link to that video if you want to make that. Because what doesn't go better with mac and cheese than bacon? You'll just stir this around and then it's ready to serve, guys. For storage of the mac and cheese, I would just recommend putting it into a glass container with plastic wrap over it or a lid if you have it, and then heat it up when you're ready to eat. Add a little bit of milk to bring out the creaminess, of course, plant-based milk, and I would keep it in the fridge no longer than 5 days. All right, that does it for this episode. Thank you once again for watching. Please like, hit that alert bell, subscribe if you can, and until next time, we'll see you then.